Chica! Please wake up! Chica, wake up! Chica, wake up!
People were screaming. Cars were stopping in the middle of the road. Somebody shouted, "She's been shot!" And I felt my entire soul leave my body. There, on the hot tar of Harmony Street, Chica lay in a golden pink Ankara dress, soaked with dust and fear. Her eyes were half open, her breathing shaky. The world around me spun, like someone kicked the ground out from under my feet. I kept hearing someone cry her name, not knowing it was me. My hands shook as I tried to lift her. My voice kept breaking. "Chica, stay with me. Please, stay with me." She looked up at me through pain and whispered something I didn't understand then. She said, "It was meant for you." I didn't know how to process that. All I knew was that the dress she wore was the one I had taken off barely 1 hour earlier. The same dress my stepmother gave me that morning with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. The same dress she insisted I should wear before leaving the house that evening. As paramedics carried Chica away, and neighbors stood around whispering with the fear of people who just realized wickedness lived among them. One question hit me like thunder. Who exactly was that bullet meant for? I didn't want the answer, but life dragged me to it. And that was how the nightmare began. Because to understand what happened on that street, you need to understand how everything started. Before the gunshot, before the police sirens, before the truth crawled out like a snake from under the bed, my life was simple. Or at least, I thought it was. I grew up in Ajibade estate, a place where everybody pretends they don't notice anything. But let a plate fall in your kitchen and 10 curtains will shift at once. After my mother died, the house became a quiet shadow of itself. Daddy was lonely, and loneliness will make even wise men rush decisions. 1 year later, he remarried. That was how Madame Veronica entered our lives. She came with soft smiles, lace gowns that looked like they cost somebody's rent, and a voice sweet enough to fool angels. She cooked plenty, plaited my hair, even told church members she was grateful to God for me. But somewhere inside me, something never settled. Her eyes always watched me a little too closely, like she was weighing me, not loving me. Her daughter Chica was my age mate and my total opposite in the best way. Free spirit, gentle soul, sweetheart. She treated me like real blood. We wore each other's clothes, shared secrets under the blanket. We planned our futures like girls who believed trouble wouldn't find us. Maybe that closeness was the first crack in everything. Because anytime her mother saw us laughing, that smile on her face tightened. She never failed to say the same thing. "Chica, remember your real blood. You and that girl are not the same." We always waved it off. We didn't know she meant every word with her full chest. Years moved. I graduated from university with a first class, something Daddy never stopped bragging about. He would stand in church and say, "God has honored me through my late wife's daughter." Every time he said it, I saw Veronica's jaw clench like she was chewing disappointment. Then one evening, shifted the ground beneath us. Daddy's business partner visited with a quiet, well-dressed man whose presence made the whole living room feel small. It wasn't until they introduced him that my heart skipped. He was the president's son. He barely talked, but I caught him watching me with that quiet interest rich men have when they see something they want but aren't sure how to ask. A week later, he returned. Then again. Soon his visits became normal, like it was part of the furniture. Daddy was over the moon, but Veronica, you could almost hear her heart crack inside her chest. She wanted that kind of future for her daughter, not me. She didn't hide it well, but instead of showing anger, she changed tactics. That was when she became sweeter, too sweet, asking about my day, cooking my favorite food, calling me my dear, with a softness that didn't sound real. Looking back now, it was all acting. I didn't know I was the target of a plan that had already started cooking in her mind. Then came the dress. One Sunday morning, she walked into my room holding a beautiful pink and green Ankara gown, shining with tiny golden stones. "I bought it for you," she said with a warm smile. "Wear it this evening and help me buy something from the market." I didn't suspect anything. Why would I suspect a gift from someone who called herself my mother? That same evening, I put on the dress, I turned left and right in the mirror, happy with how it looked. But before I stepped out, Chika walked into my room and froze. "Ah, so mommy finally gave you the dress she bought for me?" I frowned. She said she bought it for me. We laughed. Then she begged, "Please, let me wear it today, just today. I've been eyeing it since she brought it home." Her excitement was too bright to dim, so I changed out of it and handed it to her. That single moment, me removing the dress and giving it to her, that was the moment fate quietly moved in the room and rearranged the story. Because 1 hour later, she was the one lying on the street, too weak to move, the fear on her face shaking me to my bones. After the ambulance left and the estate was buzzing like a disturbed hive, I stood there trembling. People around me kept whispering, "Who was the shooter aiming at?" And even before Chika opened her eyes in the hospital, my spirit already knew something wasn't right. When she finally woke, her voice was weak, but her words cut deeper than any bullet. She said, "Mommy didn't know I wore the dress. She was shouting on the phone earlier. She told someone, Tonya will wear pink today." Daddy stopped breathing for a moment. Then he stepped back like someone slapped him. Everything connected right there. He called the police. They traced the calls. The hired men confessed. Veronica had planned it, down to the dress, down to the hour, down to the street Chika walked on. When they arrested her, she didn't cry, she didn't beg. She just looked at me with fire in her eyes and said, "You took what belongs to my daughter. You think the president's son would choose you? Never." Her voice still echoes somewhere in my bones. The entire estate turned to spectators. Daddy broke down more times than I can count. He kept saying, "I brought this woman into our home." And poor Chika, she couldn't stop apologizing, even though none of it was her fault. The president's son stayed through it all. Quiet, steady, almost too calm. He told me I was strong, but I didn't feel strong. I felt like someone had peeled my chest open and left it there. Months later, the trial ended. 25 years in prison. I didn't go to court that day. I stayed home with Chika. We cooked, played music, laughed small laughter that carried pain inside it. She told me, sometimes evil hides in the same hand that feeds you, but evil never wins forever. I held that sentence like a gift. Now, anytime I open my wardrobe and see that pink Ankara dress folded there, something shifts inside me. It reminds me of how close death came, how jealousy can make someone blind, how fate can flip a plan upside down in 1 second. Most of all, it reminds me that the person smiling at you in public might be the same person sharpening a knife behind your back. And that is how my stepmother's plan to end me almost ended her own child.